Well, thank you for joining. This is Tarot in White, where we get into the cloud. So this is our learning center. We will be posting a lot of free videos for your learning pleasure, for those that are curious or want to absorb the information for themselves in their own tarot purposes. So we do have 4 videos previously all about the minor arcana. We're going to start diving into the major arcana, and we'll have a set of those as well. And then we will move on to court cards and then deeper thoughts into tarot. Okay, so let's dive into it. Firstly, we have the 3 sets. If you watched my other videos, we have our court cards, our major arcana, and minor arcana. And I ask you to divide them all up into different sets and put the court cards away, the majors away, and then the minors we were talking about. Now put the minors away and take out the majors. You should have 0 to 21. So that means you should have 22 cards in total. And hopefully you can see all of them on the video. I do have the Light Seers deck because, in my opinion, it is one of the best decks in terms of connecting to the cards, understanding the cards. And if you're a beginner, I would recommend the Light Seers deck and the Rider and Waite deck, or Rider, Waite, and Smith, so that you can have those together. Those would be my starters. And then after you learn it a bit more, you might want to choose some other decks. They have so many different decks of different inspiration. So the cards are all numbered. You'll see the numbers on the bottom, 0, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, such like that. And so it goes in order from 0 to 21. And you might ask, what are these numbers about? So the numbers tell a story. And the story begins with the Fool. The Fool is the character. And the character represents all of mankind. It represents our universal truths, our adventure. The card itself symbolizes, a leap of faith. You're starting into a new adventure. Of course, on the Light Seers deck, we have sacred geometry, so it's trust the universe. The universe has got your back. And the character is diving in. Sometimes it can be youthful, naive, innocent. It is the Fool because they're not necessarily looking at where they're going, but they are trusting. And so in that part of it, they're doing something really good, because trusting the process, trusting the universe, trusting Source or God is a big theme in the story. So we then move to the next part of the story. The character goes through each segment until they get to the end. Now each part is a lesson that the character is learning, and it's life, it's trials, it's struggles. It's ups, it's downs, it's internal process, external processes, feminine and masculine energies, and balancing all of it from the external, internal, masculine, feminine, right, wrong, good, bad, up and down, overcoming struggles until we get to the end, which is card 21, which is our world, which is a completed cycle. You've completed the entire story. So let's dive into what each card means. These cards, unlike the minor arcana, which are a bit easier to understand and memorize because you can break them up into suits and 1 to 10 and look at the pictures and colors and look basically just at the overall meaning. Through that will give you a lot of information. But then once you start to learn a bit more about the numerology 1 to 10, that also gives you a lot of information. But these cards don't have that kind of information, except for the colors, which are going to tell you about the astrological and the quality of the planet. But I'm going to do a different video for that. And so when we dive into the major arcana, you really just have to pay attention to the picture as well. Will give you information, but also just kind of remembering each one individually. So let's dive into this. So this is our Magician, and our Magician has a dualistic energy. So the Magician is all about being able to conjure things up, make things happen, a doer in life. The Magician brings things that were above to below, and of course, a lot of times there's the infinity symbol because he can tap into that infinite source and draw upon its power. Now, this card is also sometimes known as the trickster because it can also conceal or hide things. So it can reveal things, bring things from the invisible to the visible, but it can also conceal things, take things that are visible and hide it behind its back. And it, depending on the context of the cards around it, the questions and things, you can determine things differently. Of course, there are also reversals, and we'll talk about that in another video. So then we move on to our High Priestess, and she's number 2. She is also connected to above and below like our Magician, except this is the feminine, and she is not really about doing so much as she's about connecting. She's a conduit. She's a channel. She channels intuitively, psychically, telepathically, the information. And you'll see a lot of the masculine energies are doing action. A lot of the feminine energies are talking of the emotion, sometimes more of the mind, sometimes too. But just so you know, the wands and the swords or the fire and air are masculine energies. And the earth and the water or the emotions and the coins are the feminine energies. So this is a little bit more about that card. And when I get into my pairings video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how each card can be paired. See, this is the masculine, this is the feminine of the same side. It's like the same coin, but a different side of the same coin. So I'm going to talk about pairings in another video. When we go to our next set, we have our Empress and our Emperor. And of course, the Empress is all about that nurturing, mothering, sometimes pregnancy quality, love, support, very strong, independent, taking care of you, taking care of others' energy. And of course, the Emperor is all about the boundaries, the rules, rationale, logic, structure, shape, and strength, authority. And then we move into our Hierophant. And our Hierophant is all about that spiritual aspect of life, but it's a structured spiritual aspect of life. So it's like your church, your temple, your synagogue, your earthly commitments. So you might have religious commitments, you might have love commitments. So marriage, that's also something that's strongly associated with the card. True love, your soul's path, your soul partner. And then we move on to our Lovers and our Chariot card. And so both of these cards are about choices. This is a choice in love, choosing love over fear, soulmate, twin soul. It can also be just about a very strong partnership or just making the right choice in love. Again, love over fear kind of energy. It's also very connected to what's above is what's below, because your 6s are all about what's above is what's below. So this can also be strongly indicated that you're on your right soul path. And then we have our Chariot, and this is also about choices. Do you go left or do you go right? And there is a strong spiritual connection to the card as well, because you need to tap into source to know what direction to take. You need to tap into your intuition, your emotion, divine source, pray, meditate, so you kind of know what direction to take. But it's also a card about movement, doing something, moving forward, action. And then we move into our next 2 cards, and we have Strength. And our Strength card is all about tapping into your authentic self, overcoming devil energies, karma, temptations, having the courage to be you, standing up for what's good, what's right, tapping into your light. And then we have the Hermit. And the Hermit is all about tapping into your light as well, but you're doing it on your own. It's a solo mission. You might be a lone wolf mode, a hermit mode. And you are tapping into source, tapping into... Often there's a lantern that the man is carrying, but in this depiction, there's the light coming out of the person. So you're gaining wisdom by being on your own and reconnecting to source. So then we've got the wheel, and the wheel is all about those cycles in life. So it's karmic cycles that go round and round. And so this means it's the beginning of another karmic cycle. In many cases, it's going to be good fortune. Sometimes you're stuck in a toxic cycle or a karmic cycle that you're trying to get out of. But in the upright, of course, it has a lot to do with fortune. Sometimes, though, the cycles don't necessarily, it's at the beginning of a new cycle, you might not want it. Sometimes we don't want new things, or we resist change. Sometimes it's about just accepting that this is the start of another cycle in your life, and it's for your own good, for your own, it's your own karmic evolution or learning. And then, of course, we've got justice, and this is all about the balance in the external world, the things that are fair externally between you and your partner, you and the world. A lot of times it has to do with contracts, courts, laws, paperwork, things like this. It has a lot to do with the legal external structures and the fairness of those things, but it can also apply to the fairness in relationships. And then we go into our Hangman. And so our Hangman is all about letting go and letting God, surrendering to the divine. This person is just hanging loose. Like, it's not so much giving up as it is just giving it up to God. That's more of the feeling of the card. And you're just returning to your origins, returning to your source, just taking a piece out and to find that sense of balance again. So it's kind of similar to the Hermit in that sense, except that the Hermit is really solo mission. You're doing it on your own because you're a hermit right now. And you're really tapping into your wisdom, tapping into the intuition. Whereas this is more like, I'm just gonna hang loose. You can be around a bunch of people too. You don't necessarily are doing it on your own. You're just allowing. You're just allowing the flow of life. And then, of course, we have our death and rebirth. And it's better to think of it as a rebirth card rather than a death card, so it's not confusing. A lot of people think of it as, it's not really literal death. It has to do with the rebirth of a cycle. So you're choosing to leave a job, go to a new job, leave a relationship, go to a new relationship. But it can also have to do with internal cycles. You're healing from something, you're putting an end to something that was a karmic cycle within you, and you are being reborn, and so you are healing. And then, of course, we go into our Temperance, and this is also a balancing card, except this has to do with the internal balance of things. So you're letting go of fear and you're letting trust rule you. You're balancing between your ego and your spirit, or you're balancing between your mind and your emotion, and you're finding alignment within yourself, really. And with the Devil energy, of course, this is all about the world, the things that you can see and perceive and touch, temptations, creature comforts, love, lust, affairs, attraction, money, greed, anything to do with the earthly realm. And then we move on to our Tower and our Star card. And our Tower card is all about that moment. Whoop, camera moved. It's all about that what just happened. It's an unexpected moment that shakes things up. And it's divinely guided, though, and it occurs because you're not doing what you need to be doing for your soul, and your soul is unhappy, but you're just resisting and not choosing the right path. So the spirit realm is like, we're going to intervene and we're going to shake things up. You're not going to be happy about it, but you'll thank us later. That's the energy. And sometimes it can be like a car accident, or losing a job, or a breakup that was unexpected, or something like this. Then we've got our star card. And our star card is all about divine timing, the right timing, destiny, fate, on your right path. And so soulmate, soul twin, a lot of times might get a star card as well. Soulmate, soul twin might get a Hierophant card or a Lover's card. Divine masculine, divine feminines. And you might also get a sense of that with your minor arcana too. Okay, so our next cards are our moon and our sun. So the moon is all about your subconscious mind, your emotions, intuition, your hidden fears, the hidden part of you, the part you keep secret or hidden. It's a path that's unknown, a hidden path to enlightenment, alignment, to the connection, to what you're supposed to do. It's unseen, I don't know. It's dark. It's when the moon is out. There's not light, so there's chaos. There might be disorder, confusion. And of course, our sun is the opposite. The sun is out. It's daytime. We have order. We have organization. Things are clear. We know what direction we're going. We're awakened. We have the light. We have the direction. There's joy, positivity. And it's also linked as well to soul twins or twin flames, because it's a very connected to the source energy, and that's what twin soul is. It's source energy divided into two different parts, living two different earthly lives with the same soul. So this is also the sun. And then lastly, we dive into judgment and the world. So judgment is all about making a judgment call, dying to your old self, being born again new, letting go of the past, having a fresh start, forgiving others, forgiving yourself, finding compassion, spiritual growth, awakening. And then, of course, we get into the world. And this is the completion of a cycle. You're done with your lessons. Your karma in this cycle is finished, and you've grown up. You've moved on to the next level. You're leveling up. You've gotten what you wanted. It's coming to you. What you want is going to be there. So that's what that's about. So sometimes it helps just to kind of lay the cards out and see what you're feeling, digest the colors, the images. But that's a bit of general information. Of course, after that, you want to connect to planets and stars and colors and symbols. And so we're going to go about that in another video, but hopefully this was some good basics on the Major Arcana if you're interested in learning, and love to see you here and look forward to having you join the next class.